Nevaeh early, and Colin had chickened out. No way was Colin doing his search alone. But that meant that Colin couldn't sleep last night. And as he tossed and turned, it also meant that the normally cozy house he shared with his mom felt too confining. It meant that, when the first glimmer of dawn peeked through his windows, he'd felt like he had to escape. He'd stumbled out onto their front porch like a dying man gasping for air. Wait, no, don't think about dying. He started to lose his balance and kicked out his right foot to the side. His foot struck something that wasn't supposed to be there, because at the Creedmont house, even the porch was always tidy and orderly, with nothing out of place. Colin bent down, feeling around on the doormat. The light was so dim, he had his hands firmly around the box before he properly saw it. He blinked, trying to get his eyes to focus. The box was small and rectangular and wrapped in brown mailing paper. It had a name and address written on the top, but no return address, no mailing label, no stamps. No one official had placed this box on the Creedmont's porch. It hadn't been delivered by a postal carrier, an Amazon driver, a UPS or FedEx employee. Colin stood up, lifting the box toward the light. His name was on the box. It was addressed to him. "Oh, right, Nevaeh," he muttered, leaning back against the doorway in relief. He grinned, trying to decide whether the box's contents were more likely to be a prank or a care package. Though, what did it matter? Either would be a reminder that he had a good friend, that he mattered a whole lot to someone besides just Mom. He slid his finger under the tape holding the brown mailing paper in place. Knowing Nevaeh, knowing how her family rolled, she'd probably want him to avoid ripping the paper so she could have it back to reuse. Nevaeh was a Greavy, and her dad was the junk king of Groveview, Ohio. His official motto was, "I love junk." But Nevaeh joked sometimes that his real motto was, "Give me your trash and I'll convince someone else it's actually treasure, so I can sell it for double what you paid." So the Greavies never threw away anything. The way they lived was pretty much the exact opposite of how Colin and his mom lived. If Colin's mom said something was black, Nevaeh's dad would say it was white. If Nevaeh's dad said something was up, Colin's mom would say it was down. And everything Colin's mom saw as trash, Nevaeh's dad saw as treasure, and vice versa. Because of that, Colin's mom and Nevaeh's dad had despised each other for about as long as Colin and Nevaeh had been alive, so 12 years. They'd seen each other as bitter rivals. Then, this summer, because of Colin and Nevaeh, the two families had started working together, coordinating their efforts. At first, that change had been a little bumpy, but this week they were getting along. Because of my father dying, because Mr. Greavy is actually a nice person underneath it all, and he feels sorry for Mom, and for me. The brown mailing paper fell away, revealing a shoebox, but a small shoebox, sized for a baby's shoes, maybe a toddler's. Yeah, this is definitely from Nevaeh, Colin thought, grinning again. It had been a summer full of shoeboxes. That was partly because he and Nevaeh were both working in their parents' businesses, cleaning out attics and basements and closets and storage areas and sometimes even whole houses. And it was ridiculous how many people in Groveview seemed to think shoeboxes were for storing anything but shoes. Colin didn't mind. He and Nevaeh had come across 3 different, particularly interesting shoeboxes over the course of the summer. 2 full of secret letters, 1 full of ghostly photos. After the first 2 shoeboxes, Colin and Nevaeh had started their own business for solving mysteries. And if he said so himself, they'd done that really well. Colin turned the box over, right side up, and his grin faded. A green Post-it note fluttered from the top of the box. Even before Colin had puzzled out the words on it, he could tell this wasn't Nevaeh's handwriting. For that matter, the handwriting on the wrapping paper hadn't been Nevaeh's either. Then he read the Post-it note, and he knew there was no way this box was from Nevaeh. She would never play such a cruel prank. Or if it was meant sincerely, she would know better than to get his hopes up so high. Because what the Post-it note said was, "Your father wanted you to have this."